Alright guys, so this video is a little bit different than my normal formatting as I clean some schmutz out of my beard, but it's one, I'm just trying to get back in the swing of things. That took about a month off from this YouTube stuff for no particular reason other than writer's block, and two, this video is about taking a break from PE in general, so a bit of a relaxed feel is going to be better for it. But in general, I just noticed this trend, especially in the past 2 or 3 years, is that between November and December, I suck at being consistent with PE, whether it be just because of holiday stress or like I lose motivation. I always half-ass my workouts at this point in time, and I noticed this trend starting again. So it would make more sense for me to like pause with PE, do my deconditioning break now when I just suck with PE, and focus on other aspects of sexual health and other aspects of my, self-improvement. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the next 2 months. Golden Path is technically on pause, but I'm doing other stuff to improve like my penis essentially. And then my appearance down there and everything else. So it's not like I'm not doing PE, it's just like I'm doing a different branch of PE in this time. But first and foremost, the most important thing to me right now is breaking out of this cycle in body fat where I go from like average to fit and then stress picks up, or like I just want to gain a little bit more muscle mass and I go back to average. So right now I'm trying to change that cycle from going from fit to average, from lean to fit. So I'm dieting really fucking hard for the next 2 months, and I'm hopefully going to get to the point where I actually have like a quarter of an inch fat pad and actual abs and everything else, so people can stop just saying that BD needs to lose weight to actually look like his size. Like, dude, I get it, you don't have to fucking tell me. But point being is like I'm actually getting super serious about this. Like I'm literally cutting out all fats. I'm doing a whole video series on exactly what I'm doing, so pay attention to that if you're interested. But in general, fat loss is going to make me look bigger, make me feel a bit better about my appearance, and potentially help my erection quality, just because there's less blood in my 15 to 18% body fat compared to like 8 to 10% body fat. There's going to just be more blood to go to my dick when I'm erect, right? I'm not saying that I'm actually going to get to 8% body fat, but you get the idea. I forgot to tell you to like and subscribe again at the beginning of the video, so please do like and subscribe, especially if you find my content useful and you want to stay in the loop with all my free content. Then, if you guys have looked at my photos recently, my dick is very ashen. So it's like very discolored is a good way to put it. Ashen as in dark. Black. Like the color black. Okay. So it's definitely time for a break, and I'm working on a few discoloration protocols. Particularly red is with the help of Hank, and I am kind of testing out my own stuff on the side. Right now, I'm just using kojic acid soap. Kojic acid is like a Japanese skin cleanser and whitener. Yes, that's a hot topic there. But generally speaking, it's very good for hyperpigmentation. So hopefully it works for hemosiderin staining. That's what we get with PE. That's when blood gets trapped under the skin. There is probably some hyperpigmentation involved with penis enlargement too, just like because you're building up the blood vessels in the skin, therefore they get a bit more nutrients, and therefore they probably produce more melanin than they really should. But in general, hopefully I can like bleach my skin a bit to help it look less dark. And on top of that, most of hemosiderin staining can come up with just trying to make the skin shed quickly. A lot of people do this with skin peels, but like I am trying to do something else instead, because skin peels are a little bit dangerous, and like if I'm doing other things to my skin, I don't want to beat it up too much. So I'll get to that in a second. But part of this discoloration treatment as well is I'm going to be doing a lot of gua sha scraping. Do I have the blade right here? Yes. So imagine this is my pee-pee. What I'm going to be doing is literally pulling down the iron staining in my skin closer to the base, and that way it's easier to be processed. On top of this breaks up fibrosis, surface level, and hopefully this is going to just break down the molecules that are really close on the skin and help with discoloration. This is pretty well proven at this point. This definitely breaks down discoloration. It's to be determined if it's going to help with, hemosiderin staining, particularly on the penis. And then finally, I'll also be massaging the shit out of my dick just to help break down that stuff. And between the gua sha scraping and the massaging that I'm doing, hopefully that's enough to keep like my size at 9 inches during this little pause. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any PE in particular because that kind of defeats the point of a deconditioning break, but like I don't want to lose size just because I'm on break, if that makes sense. So hopefully that's going to be enough to just stay my size. If not, I'll let you know. Now, the other thing I'm doing for appearance is focusing on foreskin restoration. So this used to be a huge issue for me, but like between switching to a high tension extender and actually doing about a couple months of foreskin restoration, I've been able to like really fix my base tenting, and it's just been replaced with fat pad at this point. But point being is like if you have a more skin, the bigger your dick's going to look because it sits nice and loose. Therefore, you don't have like any tenting at the base. That's a very common problem with hanging only, is that since we're not stretching the skin in two directions, there's no pressure at the base with a hanger. The skin starts to slowly pull up. You're not really growing the dick skin as you're growing the shaft. Therefore, the pelvic skin has to pull up onto the shaft. It's not a huge deal. Like, it's definitely usable. It just doesn't make you look as big as you are. And like you can have it genetically as well. But like for circumcised guys, it's a lot more common because they already have very little skin, especially if they had a terrible circumcision as a infant. But that's a topic for another day. So the goal for me is to get a loose circumcision. So like I don't want a full hood. Maybe while flaccid I want like full coverage, but like erect I do not want full coverage. I just want the skin to sit pretty. And like on top of that, since I'm stretching out the skin, that discoloration is going to dissipate based off of how much skin I grow. So like if I grow 20% more skin, that discoloration is going to fade 20%. So it's going to be pretty straightforward. All I'm really going to be doing is wearing this for about 2 hours a day with about 8 ounces of tension. And then I've got another device called, I don't have it on me, it's downstairs, but it's basically two clothesline clips that you use to stretch your skin. I'm going to be using that for like spot area treatment. So hopefully between that and that, I can grow like hopefully half an inch of skin in the next 2 months. And that's going to, hopefully make my dick look half an inch bigger if I have any base tenting whatsoever. But this is more so just for appearance than anything else, not actual usability. Some guys could have such a tight circumcision that it limits penetration. You probably know that by now. It's not that your dick's small. It's just that you were you were botched as a child. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm against infant circumcision. Is just because like we're talking about something very tiny. If we want to be circumcised as an adult, there's a lot more room for error on an adult-sized penis than a infant-sized penis. But let's not get too crazy with that discussion at this moment. Now, that's just what I know I'm going to be doing. Over the past couple months, I've had a few realizations. First, pelvic floor health is probably super important for penis enlargement, like more so than I originally thought. And this goes on with my Gainathon clients. If you haven't checked that out already, basically what I'm doing is over the next year, I'm coaching 4 people publicly. In return, they're going to be allowing me to use their progress pictures for like marketing and everything like that. But in general, 2 of these guys have pretty significant pelvic floor issues. And then 2 of them have probably just traditional pelvic floor tightness. It might just be because of the people I selected, since I really focused in on their resumes and everything like that, like, how well they wrote their email. Type A people were probably more likely to be picked for this compared to like a type B person that's going to have a naturally relaxed pelvic floor, naturally relaxed nervous system, all that jazz. So I'm going to be really digging into pelvic floor health, and part of this is because I really half-assed my stretching, like my actual body stretching for flexibility, and I have noticed a lot more pelvic floor tightness. So there's definitely something to it. I definitely don't always have the same erection quality. I don't know if it's from penis enlargement or just stress or, pelvic floor health or whatever, but there's something to it. If the muscles are tight around the penis, you cannot get a full-size erection. So if we can figure out how to relax the muscles while keeping their muscle tone, we can practically have a consistent erection each time. That's probably half the battle at being your biggest all the time. And I think that's what most men really want at the end of the day. So that's something I'm going to be really looking into the next 2 months. And then this is a bit ooh-woo. While I was on vacation, I noticed how important being relaxed is for dick size. And simply put, my flaccid was like ridiculously large. Like we're talking 7 inches just walking around. No pump or anything else. Granted, I did take my PE stuff on vacation this time. But like in general, my flaccid was ridiculous. I was getting erect when the wind blows. And then I would have like the biggest erections of my life while on vacation, enough to make my wife actually comment about it often. So I've been home for a month now, and like those magic boners just cease to exist here. I don't know if it's just the magic of Maui or it's something fundamentally wrong with how I am handling stress here and my work life balance. So I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to chill the fuck out is a good way to put it. So I'm trying to avoid self-inflicted stress for now. So like the people that I usually argue with, I ignore their existence. I've been working on meditating, and then I've been just reading to like help teach my mind to slow down a bit. But like it could have been diet as well. So like I clearly was eating more, and I was probably eating a bit healthier because it's an island. There's going to be a lot more seafood, more vegetables, everything like that when you're eating out nice compared to like whatever you're cooking at home might not be the most nutrient dense. So I'm gonna take a look into that after this cut, diet wise. But I personally think there's an issue with a lot of, let's say, men with a lot of drive to like for self improvement that they don't know how to relax, and that's what's actually going to be limiting them to being their best sexually, because most of the sexual response is relaxation, right? So the gist is between figuring out the pelvic floor health, figuring out why the fuck I can't relax at home, I'm trying to figure out how to get the biggest erection possible consistently. Like, I don't want that to be just when the stars align, but like, what am I missing now that's keeping me from being at my best all the time? So that's really what the next 2 months is for me, is a bit of, I guess, soul searching, looking outside the penis itself to see what I can improve to make it easier for me to be at my best all the time. A good way to put it is like, there's the muscle mind connection. I'm calling this the dick head connection. And basically with bodybuilding, you get a lot better stimulus if you can focus on the muscles, and then that way you can actually feel the muscles contracting, and you get better fatigue, you get better muscle activation, everything else. What I'm saying is if you get a penis mind connection, you'd be able to tell if you have a tight pelvic floor, what exactly you need to do to address it. So like, let's say your pelvic floor is tight, for example, like, okay, I need to do 10 to 15 minutes of stretching today to help this out. Or like, I'm chronically tight everywhere, my erections aren't going to be that great, so I need to figure out how to chill the fuck out before I do my PE, for example. And since the Golden Pass is on a bit of a break for right now, I think it'd be a good idea to go over the gains that I did so far. I did say I'm going to try to gain as much as I can this year alone, and like, sure, I could keep going with PE, but like, I don't think that really is congruent with my current thought process with PE. So like, first of all, I got rid of any like hard set goals. Hard set goals just stress you out. So like for me, I'm just trying to get as big as possible without impeding on my wife's pleasure during sex. So we'll go over what I ended up with. I started at 8.25 about January 10th, I believe. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But I got up to about 8.5 in May, just from my normal PE routines. I would say this was more so like a return to form because I have measured at 8.5, 8.6 in 2023 with the strict measurement style that I have been using. Now, after adding vibrations, I got to about 9 1/8 in September. But by the end of October, last week of, the first or second week of November, okay? So the first or second week of November, I was 9 inches BPL with a bit of recalibration in how I was measuring. So I could have been getting ahead of myself a little bit, but like we're talking 1/8 of an inch, we're talking maybe a 1% difference. So like, I'm going to say that I've been very consistent with my measuring this year. So it could have just been bad EQ, but it's probably that I fixed the camera angle and that was it. I gained 3/4 of an inch in about 10 months this year with photo evidence of it working. I do think this is pretty impressive. Granted, at least a quarter of an inch was returned to form to like my normal erection size. So January, I was getting over, what was it? RSV. Shitty virus, minor virus, but shitty virus, and it just kind of drains you. So it took me a bit to get back to normal. And then I was able to actually get to like officially 9 inches bone pressed this year. And like to me, I'm very happy with that. I would probably stop PE if I wasn't doing this for a living, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, that's really it. It'd be awesome to get the 10, but it's really up to what the wife allows and wife enjoys more than anything else. But let's just say she's been very receptive to my size lately, so far it's like green light go. It's just next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever. I'm gonna focus on something else to hopefully get my dick a bit healthier. But that's gonna wrap it up. I'm really terrible at telling you guys to like and subscribe, so please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I do plan on continuing this, and then I have a lot of other stuff planned. Again, I'm doing that cut log. I'm still got a few things to make for the beginner's guide. And then I got a whole bunch of pelvic floor stuff to look into now, and that's going to be a lot of content for you guys. That's going to be a dramatic help for a lot of you, believe me. So, stick around, and I'll see you later.